And welcome to Adobe Flash CS6 lesson, Classroom in a Book, Lesson 6. Today we're going to learn about how to create interactive navigation. So let's just go on to our desktop here and let's have a look at our Classroom in a Book, and we'll see what we're going to do in Lesson 6 here, and we're going to see what at the end of the lesson here, and this is our file here, so let's go and look at this. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to create an interactive navigation here. So when you click on our different restaurants here, we can actually go back to the main menu. See the address, the category, the price, and some text to create some kind of interactive navigation, for example, using in a website or something like that. Okay, so just let's go on to our start folder here. And we just open up this initial project. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to save it as working copy. 6. Okay, so that's our working copy here. Now, interactive movies change based on the viewer's action. For example, when the viewer clicks a button, a different graphic with more information is displayed. Interactivity can be simple, such as a button click, or it can be complex, receiving inputs from a variety of sources, such as the movements of the mouse, keystrokes from the keyboard, or even data from databases. In Flash, you use ActionScript to achieve most interactivity. ActionScript provides the instructions that tell each button what to do when the user clicks one of them. In this lesson, you'll learn to create a nonlinear navigation, one in which the movie doesn't have to play straight from the beginning to the end. ActionScript can tell the Flash playhead to jump around and go to different frames of the timeline based on which button the user clicks. Different frames on the timeline contain different content. The user doesn't actually know that the playhead is jumping around the timeline. The user just sees or hears different content appear as the buttons are clicked on the stage. Now, button is a basic visual indicator of what the user can interact with. The user usually clicks a button, but many other types of interactions are possible. For example, something can happen when the user rolls the mouse over a button. Buttons are a kind of symbol that has 4 special states or keyframes that determine how the button appears. Buttons can look like virtually anything, an image, graphic, or a bit of text. They don't have to be those typical pill-shaped gray rectangles that you see on many websites. In this lesson, you'll create buttons with small thumbnail images and restaurant names. A button symbol's 4 special states include the following: an up state, over state, down state, and a hit state. Okay, so let's just go into our lesson now. So let's go insert new symbol. Okay, so we have here a new symbol, and we're going to type the name Gable Lofel button. Okay, and make sure here it is button. Okay, so here, and then we just got to click OK. So now we are over here seeing one Gable Lofel button. Okay, so the new button is over here. So Flash brings us to symbol editing mode for our new button. Now in the library panel, we'll expand the folder here of restaurant thumbnails and drag the graphic symbol Gable Lofel thumbnail, okay, this symbol here, to the middle of the stage. So we just drag it here. Okay. Okay, so in the properties, we got set X to 0 and Y to 0. So the upper left corner here is now aligned to the registration point of the symbol. Now we got to select the hit frame. Now notice over there there's up, over, down, and hit. So these are the 4 special states. So the up state shows the button as it appears when the mouse is not interacting with it. Over state shows the button as it appears when the mouse is hovering over it. And the down state shows the button as it appears when the mouse button is depressed. Hit state indicates the clickable area of the button. So let's select the hit frame here. In the timeline, choose Insert Timeline Frame. To extend the timeline, the Gable Lofel image now extends through the up, over, down, and hit states. So let's insert a new layer. Select the over frame and choose, okay, we got to select this frame and choose insert timeline keyframe, insert timeline keyframe. So a new keyframe is inserted in the over state of the top layer. In the library panel, expand the folder called restaurant previews. So over here, restaurant previews, and drag the movie clip symbol called Gabel Lofel over info to the stage. So we've got to come here and we've got to drag it over to the stage. In the properties inspector, we can come here, we're going to set the X value to 0 and the Y value to 215. The gray information box will appear over the restaurant image whenever the mouse cursor rolls over the button. Insert the third layer above the first two. Select the down frame of the new layer and choose Insert Timeline Keyframe. And a new keyframe is inserted in the down state of the new layer. Drag the sound file called Click Sound MP3, this file over here, from the library panel onto the stage. Okay, notice there's this line over here that shows there's a waveform over there. Select the down keyframe where the sound form appears. So I'm going to select this one. And in the properties inspector, make sure the sync is set to event. Okay, make sure this is event. Okay. A clicking sound will play only when a viewer depresses the button. Now let's go to click scene 1 to exit the symbol editing mode and return to the main timeline. Your first button symbol is complete. Look in your library panel to see the new button stored there. So notice it's over here, Gabel Lofel button. Your button symbol's hit keyframe indicates the area is hot or clickable to the user. Normally the hit keyframe contains, so if I come here, so this hit here shows you where the area that you want users to click. However, in certain advanced applications, you may want the hit keyframe and up keyframe to be different. If your up keyframe is empty, the resulting button is known as an invisible button. Users can't see invisible buttons because the hit keyframe still defines a clickable area. Invisible buttons remain active. You can place invisible buttons over any part of the stage and use ActionScript to program them to respond to users. Invisible buttons are used for creating generic hotspots. For example, placing them on top of different photos can help you make each photo respond to a mouse click without having to make each photo a different button symbol. Now that you've created one button, you'll be able to create others more easily. You duplicate one button here and change the image in the next section and then continue to duplicate buttons and modify the images for the remaining restaurants. So in the library panel, right-click, control-click, okay, and select duplicate. So let's come back over here, and we got right-click here, and we got say duplicate. You can also click on the options menu on the top right corner of the library panel to select duplicate. So you can come over here. We can also come here and say duplicate over here. So it's the same thing. You can right-click or you can use the top right corner here. Okay, so over here we'll call this Gary button. Gary button. Okay, and we got to click OK. So now we have one button here and one button here. Now we got to learn how to swap bitmaps now. So, and you can easily speed up our workflow. So we got to double click our Gary button here. So we got to come back here. Okay, so we come back, click here and click Gary button here. We got to select the restaurant image here on the stage. And in the properties inspector, we got to just click swap. Now over here, we got to select the next thumbnail image and that's called Gary thumbnail. And we got to click OK. So the original thumbnail is swapped for the one you selected. Now because they are both the same size, the replacement is seamless. Now select the over keyframe. Okay, and click the gray information box on the stage. So again, in the properties inspector, we got to swap it. And we got to choose the Gary in over info. So we got to click this one and click OK. Now, since the symbol is duplicated, all other elements such as sound and top layer remain the same. So let's continue doing it for the other instances that we have, and we're going to get done. So we've done with this one. Okay, so we've done one. So let's go to the library. So we got this one and got this one. So let's duplicate another one here. And we're going to call this Il Piatto button, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so again we're going to double click this one, select this one, go to properties, swap, we're going to change it to Il Piatto thumbnail, come down to this one here, select this one, swap, and we're going to call it Il Piatto over info. Okay, and we are done. Go back to library. Okay, and we say yes, right click. Okay, and we are going to duplicate this one more time, and we got to choose the next one is Pierre Platter's button. Okay, and we got to double click this one, come over here, go to properties, swap, you got to choose Pierre Platter's thumbnail, come over here, select this one, swap it to Pierre Platter's over info. We're done. So now we have 4 buttons here. So now we got to place the button instances to the stage. So on the timeline over here, we got to insert a new layer, and we got to call it buttons. Okay, so we got to drag each of our buttons over here. So no place over here. So we got to take this button and we got to put it over here. We got to take this one, put it over here. And we got to take this one, put it over here. And we got to take this one and put it over here. Okay, so let's select this one, go to properties, set the X to 100, okay, and we're going to select this one, and we're going to set the X to 680. So I'm going to select all 4 buttons. 1, press the Shift key, 2, 3, and 4, okay. So to select it, you press the Shift key. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all selected. Let's go to the line panel. Okay, so we're going to deselect this one. Make sure this is not selected. And click Space Evenly Horizontal. Okay, so notice it's space evenly horizontal. And then we're going to align the top edge now. Okay, so now with all 4 buttons selected, we got to change the Y, and we got to just center 170. Okay, so now all 4 buttons are placed on the stage correctly. So let's test the movie. So let's come test movie in test. And there we have it. And notice when we move our mouse over, there's a different information over the button. Okay, and we click it. Okay, there's some sound that they created when we click it. Okay, however, nothing has been done, actually happens when we click it. So what we need to do is give it instructions. What happens when we click a button? Okay, so let's come back here. And we give names to all our buttons, okay? Because we can't just say, hey, this button there, that button. We have to give names. So let's just select this button over here, okay? Just one button. Okay, then we got to come here and got to type Gable Lofel underscore button, okay? Okay, then we're done. Come over here and same thing, we got to come here and call this Gary underscore button. We got to click this one over here. Il Piatto button. And we got click over here, pair, platters, button. Okay. So make sure it's all lowercase, don't have spaces, and make sure the spelling is exactly correct, because if you have a wrong, if the buttons are not named correctly, the ActionScript won't work. Okay, so that's it, and we got to lock all the layers, make sure all the layers are locked. So now naming instances is critical step in creating interactive Flash projects. The most common mistakes made by novices is not to name or to incorrectly name a button instance. Now, instance names are important because ActionScript uses the names to reference these objects, okay? They are not the same as symbol names, okay, in the library panel, and the names in the library panel are simply organizational reminders. Okay, so instance naming follows these simple rules. Don't use spaces or special punctuation. Underscores are okay to use. Do not begin a name with a number. Beware of uppercase and lowercase because they are case sensitive, and your button name with underscore btn. Although it's not required, it helps identify these objects as buttons. And do not use any word that is reserved for a Flash ActionScript command. Now, Adobe Flash Professional CS6 uses ActionScript 3. Now, for those who have experienced programming, it's very similar to JavaScript because it's based on the same parent, which is ECMAScript. Okay, you don't have to be a scripting expert to use ActionScript. Okay, there's some tools available to help novices, but of course you'll be able to do much more if you do know ActionScript. Okay, so this lesson just teaches us some basic stuff about common terms and syntax and gives you a little bit of introduction. Okay, okay. Now there are several things we gotta go through. Okay, now I'm just gonna go through the whole thing about programming it. Okay, so we're gonna come over here to the Windows panel here, and we're gonna click on Actions. Now in the Actions panel, this is where we type our code. Okay, so you can come here. So you go to Windows and Actions. Okay, or by selecting a keyframe, or you can come over here and then we can select a keyframe, and actually we can actually come here to click on Actions as well. So you'll come over here as well. Okay, you can also come over here, select the keyframe, and then you just click over here to select the actions. So there are several ways to get to the action panel. Okay, so it gives us stuff to do, things like debug, format, edit. Okay. And as we go look at the actions panel here, there are various language elements to help you to program if you're not very good in programming. So it actually gives you some sort of palette to do your programming. Okay, and over here there is where you call your current selection, which button you are in, which scene, and what are your symbol definitions. Okay, over here, this is where your code appears. Okay, at the bottom, this is called the script navigator to help you find a particular piece of code. Now we can just resize everything over here, so you can come here to see more stuff. This is called the script pane. Okay, sorry, this is called the. Okay. This is called the Actions Toolbox. Okay, and over here we can actually choose what type of action script we want depending on where we want to go. Okay, so let's just come over here. So we got every Actions Flash project begins with a single frame. So to create room on the timeline to add more content, you add more frames to all our layers. So let's select frame 50 over here. Okay, and we choose Insert Timeline Frame. Okay, so notice there is it inserts new frames over here. Okay, so we add new frames in timeline, frame 50. Okay, so we gotta just add more keyframes over here. So insert timeline frame, and you can come here, insert timeline frame, so it adds more frames over here. Okay, so now that we have frames on timeline, our movie will play linearly from 1 to 50. So over here, However, this is an interactive restaurant guide, so we want the viewers to choose a restaurant to see in whichever order they choose. So we need to pause the movie at the very first frame to wait for our viewer to click a button. Okay, so we got to come over here. So we got to put a stop action. So we got to come here and insert a new layer. We got to call it actions. We got to select the first frame. Got to click on here, ActionScript, and we got to come here and click stop. Okay, so now notice this semicolon here. Semicolon is very, very important because it tells the ActionScript that it's reached the end of a code line. Now, and if you look at over here, every parentheses or brackets, okay, or brackets or color, you need to, when you have an open bracket, you must also have a closed parentheses. Okay. That's a stop. Stop action. So that means what happens that the movie just stopped over here. Now events are occurrences that happen in the Flash environment that Flash can detect and respond to. For example, you got a mouse click or a mouse movement, key press, pinch or swipe gesture on a mobile device. These are things that are produced by the user, but some events can happen independently of the user. For example, when you've loaded something or the completion of a sound. So with ActionScript, we can write code that detects events and respond to them with an event handler. Okay, so we just got to add an event handler. Okay, so let's again come back over here and we got to click on this one. So we have a stop action here. So let's come here. And we got to come here and type gab lofel button dot. Okay, so the dot over here is this thing called the dot operator. It provides a way to access properties and methods of an object. Type the instance name, this is called the instance, followed by dot, then the name of a property or method. So for example, if we say Gable Lofel underscore button, then we say add event listener. So that means this event listener method is a method of this. Okay, this is a method of this one. So type here mouse event dot click restaurant 1. Okay. So the listener listens for a mouse click for the Gable Lofel button. Okay. Okay, so on the next line, what we're going to do is that we're going to come here. Now, over here, this is what you call a argument. So we have two arguments here. First one is the event, and this next one is called the name of the method to call, or the callback function. So first we got restaurant 1. So what is restaurant 1? So we got to create restaurant 1 now. So function restaurant 1 event mouse event void. Okay, and we got to just come here, go to and stop 10. Okay, so what it means that restaurant 1 receives an event which is called mouse event and returns nothing, means void, and it says go to and stop at 10. Okay, so that's it. So we got to enter additional code for the remaining 3 buttons. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to just copy this. Oops, Command Z, Control C, copy, Command C. 1, 2, 3. And we got to just change the name over here. Gary button. Restaurant 2. Okay, let's call it restaurant 3, restaurant 4. And we got to call this restaurant 1, restaurant 2, restaurant 3, restaurant 4. So this is Gable Lofel, Gary. This should be next one, should be Il Piatto. Next one should be Pierre Platters. Okay. Over here, we will put 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, so now we've got this action script here. So sometimes if we make a mistake there, which are called syntax errors, we can actually click the check syntax button over here. So we can come here and check the syntax button, which will look for errors. So it says there are no errors here, so that's okay. And also we can also click on this to auto format our code so that things looks easy. Okay, so actually imports, adds one more line here, imports mouse events. So just click this one to format our code so it looks neatly formatted. Okay, so now that we've done that, okay, we can click this one. So what happens is that every time we click it, we want it to move to a different part of our timeline. So we got to create one more layer over here and got to call it content. Okay, so we got to select 10, keyframe 10. Okay, and then we got to click insert timeline, modify, and we insert keyframe. So notice it creates a keyframe. You can also use the F6 key if you want. So I'm going to go to frame 20. If you want to see, there's frame 20 over there. So I'm going to just click F6, and then frame 30, and 6. Okay, and we can also click here and click frame 40, and we're going to choose F6 as well. So now there are keyframes in all these frames here. So again, we're going to come here to frame number 10. In the library panel, we got expand the folder called restaurant content. Okay, and we got drag the symbol called Gable Lofel from the library panel to the stage. So we got come to over here, Gable and Lofel content to the stage. Okay, so we drag it over here. So notice over here now. Now the symbol has already has all the graphics text that we want about the restaurant. So we gotta come over here. Oops. Okay, my mouse is a bit quirky just now. Okay, we gotta come here and just type X60 and Y150. So now it covers up our buttons. Okay, so now I'm gonna come over to the keyframe over here. And we're going to go back to the library here, and we're going to come here and drag Gary over here. Again, same thing, select this one, click on properties, come over here, and you choose 60 and 150. Okay, come back to frame number 30, and we're going to do the same thing. So this one will be Il Piatto. Same thing, come over here. Type 60 and type 150. Come to this frame here, frame 40. Come over here, select Pierre Platters. Come over here, click on X equals to 60 and 150. So notice now when we move our frame, we got first one is Gable and Lofel, next one is Gary, and Il Piatto and Pierre Platters. Okay, now the next thing we want to learn is how to create labels on keyframes, because we instead of just saying go to a different number. Okay, so I'm just going to do something over here, which is, so if I click, if I go and do a control test movie, there is an error actually. Actions framework access under Gable Lofel button. Okay, so there is something wrong here. So I'm going to come over here, Gable Lofel. So I'm just going to look at the properties of this thing over here. Gable Lofel, 2 Fs. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to just click on, there's a problem. So there was a typo error in my code, so that I missed 1 F here. So notice that. Okay, so let's try it again. Command enter, and we're going to try again. So notice if I click here, it will go here. Okay, notice I can't go back at all. Okay, so I actually have to and click on this one, it goes to Gary. Okay. Okay, so that's our code right now. So if we look at our code, it says go to 10, go to 20, go to 30. But the problem with this is that what if we add frames? Then these frame numbers will need to be changed. So we shouldn't actually be using frame numbers. Okay, we should actually. So there's this thing that called labels that are available in ActionScript. So instead of going to a frame number, because what happens if we add frames here? Okay, so we shouldn't be doing that. So let's just come here, select frame 10. Okay, and we just got to close this one. So come over, select frame 10, and then notice there's a label here. We got to choose here. We got to click on. Type this as label 1. Choose this and got to click on label 2. Label 3. And choose this one, and we got to click on, call it label 4. Okay, so now we got to come back here. So instead of run, okay, so we got to come back over here, and then we got to just choose actions again. So instead of saying go to 10, right, we can just say go label 1, label 2, label 3, label 4. Okay. So let's just test it again. Undefined property label 1. Again, there is a different property here, so go to install. Okay, so there's a problem here because I didn't put double quotes, so I forgot to do this. So notice the labels need double quotes. Okay, so there we have it. So let's just test one more time. So if I click on this one, it goes to Il Piatto. Okay, so now we've done that. Okay, so let's just click one more and show you. And if I click on this one, it goes to Pierre Platters. So what happens is that when we click on the button, it goes to the different sections here. Label 1, click on this, goes to label 1, click on this, goes to label 2, click on Il Piatto, goes to label 3, and click on Pierre Platters, it goes to label 4. Okay, so now we have a problem. We can't go back. So let's just select the buttons layer. Make sure this over here. Okay, and we got to drag the button called main menu from the library. So where is the main? Okay, so there's a button here, so I'm going to just drag it over here. Okay, and we just got to set the values of X to 726 and Y to 60. Okay, so when we use now we can add code snippets to ActionScript. Okay, it makes it very easy because we don't type it all ourselves. It's just something that's been written already. So if you're not sure how to write it, you can just use code snippets, and we can also save, import, and share code between the team of developers to make the development and production process more efficient. So let's just choose this first frame again. Come over here. Okay, so this is where our code is. Okay, and we can also choose, make sure you choose this one as well. Choose window code snippets. Window, and we're going to choose, where is code snippets? Code snippets, no, code snippets. Okay, so it's over here. So these are code snippets. Okay. We can also come if it's not open, we can actually click on this one. This will also open it up. Okay. Okay. So this is the code snippet panels. Okay, describe and the different folders describe their action. So we got open the expand the folder called Timeline Navigation. So we're gonna come over here and select the click to go to frame and stop. So we're gonna select this one over here. So this is a description button. So we can click, and clicking the object moves the playhead to the specified frame and stops. Okay, now if we click the code button, this is actually the code that we're going to be using here. Instance name here, add event listener. So let's move our mouse over here. Okay, so actually this color part tells us what we need to change. So now over here, with this part over here, now notice here, okay, so we got to click and drag this one to the main menu. So notice there's a purple line that extends to the home button. The home button becomes highlighted with a yellow border, okay, so selecting that, showing that the selected code will be applied to it. You point your pick whip to an object that doesn't support a particular code snippet, a circular icon with a diagonal line appears, the intentional no button. Okay, so we can't do this. You see, we can't do it here, but we can do it here. Okay, so we just release it and notice what happens. Set instance name. Okay, so there's no name yet. It just gives us a default value, but we want not going to do that. We got to use the name home button here, and we got to just click OK. So notice now there's this home button snippet over here. So now we're going to highlight the blue number within the parentheses here. Okay, we're going to select this one here. Now it indicates which frame of the timeline they display when you click the home button. So we've got just changes to 1. Okay, we've got just changes to 1. And we are going to click insert. Okay, so now notice the clip 1 is inserted here. Right over here is inserted in our timeline here. Okay, so I'm just going to just put some empty lines to make it more clearer for us. So it says that home button adds event listener. So for the home button, please listen to a mouse click. If there is a hard mouse click, call this function, which is FL click to go to and stop at frame. Now when we use the code snippets panel, it makes adding interactivity quick and learning code easy, but it can help organize frequently used code for yourself and for a team working on the same project. Okay, so now there are additional options in the code snippets panel for your saving your own code and sharing your code with others. If you have your own ActionScript code that you use repeatedly, you can store it in the code snippets panel and apply it in other projects easily. So let's open up the code snippets panel again. Choose create. Come over here, choose create new code snippet. And a new code snippet dialog box appears. Okay, in the code field, okay, we got put here title home function. Oh, what's happening here? I seem to get double characters here. Okay. Okay. Click to return to frame 1. Okay. Okay, use the term instance name here for any placeholder instance names and be sure. Okay, I'm not sure why there's a double line here. Okay, I probably have to edit this later. This seems to be a bug in ActionScript. Flash CS6. So again, whoa. Okay, let me just come here. So there's something. Okay, so I'm just gonna edit this thing again. Up. Hold on. Let's go back to code snippets. There's some problem here. I notice there's some errors here. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, there seems to be a bug. There seems to be a bug in Flash CS6. Okay. Let me just see, let's see whether I can edit this. Okay, so I'm going to just try closing and rebooting this one. Okay, and let's go double click this one again and see whether it works. Because there's definitely a bug there when it types double characters. Okay, so I'll come over here. So now it works. So not all programs are perfect. Okay, so use the term instance name here for any placeholder instance names, and be sure to check the option below the code field. Okay, so instance name here, dot add event listener mouse event dot click return home function return home event mouse event void. Okay, and we got come here, go to and stop. Okay, so that's what we have here, instance name here. We automatically replace instance name here when applying code snippet. And we've got to click OK. So now we got our home function here. So now our code is saved in the code snippets panel under custom folder. Okay, so now we may accumulate a large library of useful code snippets that you want to share. So it's easy to export your custom code snippets and enable other Flash developers to import them into their own code snippets panel. So notice we have our codes panel here. We can choose, come over here, and we choose export code snippets XML. Okay, so in this we can actually choose a file name and destination. Okay, so we gotta call it my code snippet. Okay, click on save. Now when we look in our Finder, notice there is a file here called my code snippet. And if I look at it with my text editor, it's all over here. Okay, it doesn't just include my own actions, it includes all the default code snippets as well. So this is my one that I just created just now, but it includes almost all the other default ones as well. So far, our restaurant guide works by using go to and stop command. Okay, so notice, so now we've got this one. So now we've got this. So we got to just run it. So now you can come here and then go to main menu, it goes back. Okay, so let's go back to the frame label in frame 1 here. Label 1 frame here. Now we got to create this thing called transitions so that we can create some animation when the user clicks a button. So another way is to use go to and play. So let's come over here and then we got to right click the instance of the restaurant information on the stage to choose create motion tween. So we got to come here, select this one here. We've got to right click this one and we've got to say choose create motion tween. So notice it creates a separate tween layer for the instance. Okay, so in the properties panel we select from under effects, style, pull down menu. So we've got to come over here, color effect style. We got to choose alpha. Select the slider to go 0 to 0, it's totally transparent. Okay, so now we got to move one all the way over here. Okay, and we got to make sure this is selected. Make sure this is selected. Okay, and we got to change the alpha slider all the way to 1 over here. Okay. So now the instance is displayed at the normal opacity level. The motion tween from frame 10 to 19 shows a smooth fade-in effect. So what we've got to do is create similar motion tweens for all the remaining restaurants. So we've got to come over here, right-click this one, create motion tween. Under color effect, choose alpha, 0. Come over here. Make sure they're still selected. Okay, select this one. Alpha is 100%. Come over here. Select this one. Right click, create motion tween. Select alpha, 0. Come over here. Click this one more time. Choose the alpha to 100%. Come over here. Right click. Click on create motion tween. Right click, click on this one, choose alpha again all the way to 0, select this one, okay, come all the way to frame 50, come over, choose alpha to 100%. Okay, so now let's have a look at our animation over here. Not yet, so it doesn't work yet. Okay, so we've got some information, we got some transparency over here. Now it still doesn't work yet because we need to tell it to stop. Okay, we come here and we click on it, but it comes over here and then we don't know what to do yet. So let's select the first frame of our actions here. Okay, because it tells it to stop, it doesn't move. So what happens is that when we click on the button, it just comes over here and doesn't continue on here. So we got to come here and we got to click on, so we got to right click and choose actions. So instead of saying go to and stop, okay, we change it to go to and play. Okay. Play. Okay, so let's try it out again. Click. What happens now? The problem is, you see now, notice where I go Gabble, Lofel, Gary, Il Piatto, it doesn't stop. You see what happens now is that when I click go to and play, it comes here, it plays the animation, but it cannot stop. So it keeps on going all the way here, all the way here, all the way here. So we must find a way to stop it at the end of the animation here. Okay, so let's select frame 19 over here. Okay, and at the frame just before label 2, okay, and we're gonna come over here, right click, and we're gonna choose insert keyframe. Okay, choose insert keyframe, and then we gotta go to the actions panel. We can also come over here, and we just gotta type stop. Okay, so we gotta do the same thing again. We gotta come here, insert timeline keyframe. So undo, sorry. Insert, I think insert keyframe. Okay, so there it is. And again, I can just come over here to actions or option F9. And if I don't want to type, I can actually come over here. Okay. And I can actually, oh well, let's just type it stop. Okay, and we can come here. We gotta come here, insert keyframe as well. We can use the command function, F6. Okay, and we just gotta shoot option F9. Come here, and we gotta just type stop. Okay. So if we want to do that, we can actually, if we don't want to type stop, let's see, we can actually come over here now. Is there a way to do it over here? Language elements, functions. Well, I'll look for that later. Okay, so we just leave it at stop over here. So notice now, if at every point here, there's stop, stop, stop. Okay, so stop, stop. So let's just come and play our timeline again. So click on here. There's a nice little thing. Go back here, and there's a little nice animation over here. And that's it. Okay, so when we hover our mouse over the button, the gray additional information box suddenly appears. But imagine if that gray information box were animated. So again, over here, notice this information box. So what we can we animate this? Now, animated buttons display an animation in the up, over, and down keyframes. Now, the key to creating an animated button is to create an animation inside a movie clip symbol, and then place that movie clip symbol inside the up, over, and down keyframes of the button symbol. Okay, so let's just come back over here. Okay, so we go to the library panel. Expand the restaurant previews panel over here. Okay, so I'm just come up. So notice over here there's a restaurant previews. Okay, so we got double click the movie clip symbol icon for Gabor Lofel over info. Double click this one. So notice over here. Okay, so now it goes into symbol editing mode of the Gabor Lofel over info. So let's select everything. Make sure everything is selected. Okay, so we got right click and create motion tween. Okay, it says ask of confirmation to convert the selection to a symbol. Okay, so we've got just click OK. Okay, so now it creates a symbol, creates a tween layer over here. Okay, and it adds 1 second worth of frames to movie clip timeline. Okay, so let's come over here and we just drag it so that it goes to 10 frames. Okay, make sure you move this one over here to frame 1 and select this instance over here. Okay, in the properties inspector, we got to come over here, we got to select alpha. Let's move the alpha value over here to 0. Okay, then we got to come over here to frame 10. Select this one over here, and again, same thing we got to do, move the alpha to 100% over here. We got to insert a new layer here, and got to call it actions. Okay, oops. Okay, so and then what we got to do is insert a new keyframe over here. So insert timeline key. Oops, undo. Sorry, let me undo it. Insert timeline keyframe. So over here, there is a keyframe over here. Okay. So again, we gotta go to the actions panel over here. Okay, we just gotta come here and just type stop. Okay. So over here we have stop. Okay, and we are done over there. So let's just test over again. So now to notice there is a fade-in effect, whereas these don't have a fade-in, but when I come here, there's a nice little fade-in effect when I move this over here. So we're going to do the same thing for the other movie clips of our other buttons. So just come back over here. Come over here. We're going to click, oh sorry, I'm going to just come back over here, right? Come back to library. So Gary over info, so I'm going to come over here. So I'm just going to do the same thing again. Okay, select everything. Create motion tween. Okay. And then just going to move this over to frame 10. Okay. And we're just gonna do the same thing. Create another layer over here, call it actions. Okay, gotta come here, option F9, stop. Okay, option F9. Okay, select, go back to frame 1, select this, go to properties, effect alpha 0, come over here, select this one, alpha 100%. Okay, and that's it. Go back over here, go back to library, do the same thing for the rest as well. Okay, right click, create motion tween. Okay, frame 10, insert layer, call it actions, come over here, right click, insert keyframe, go to choose actions, type stop. Okay, click over here, come back here, select this, go to properties, alpha, go down, come over here, select this one again, 100%. Okay, go back to library and choose the last one. Same thing, select everything, right click, create motion tween. Okay, 10. Select this one, select this, properties, alpha, 0%, come over here, select this, go alpha 100%, create a new layer on top, call it actions, right click, insert keyframe, it can be a blank keyframe, it's the same thing, come here, click stop, and we're done over here. So let's just test our movie. And it's nice. Oops. There was no stop function for Gary over. So let's go back to Gary button here. There's no stop information here. So actually over here, okay. So I'm just gonna move this thing over here. Okay. So the stop function will be over here instead. Okay. Okay. So the stop must be on the last frame. And we gotta just try one more time. There's no stop at the end. So I'm going to test it out. So it seems like when I click on this, there's no stop. Okay, so let's go back here, just debug it a little bit more. Actions. Okay, so over here there's a stop here. I forgot to put a stop keyframe here. So insert blank keyframe. It can be a keyframe or blank keyframe. It doesn't matter because it's blank anyway. So, and then go over here. I'll click stop. So that just shows the importance of testing our work. Just don't do it, we gotta just test our work to make sure that everything is covered. So let's try one more time. And we're done. So thank you very much. That was Adobe Flash CS6 classroom book, which talks about creating interactive navigation.